Big New Yorker from Pizza Hut. Big pizza, bigger deal. Y'all hungry? Better be hungry.
You're watching News 12 on your side.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
The heat is here to stay across the country, with temps peaking at least 120 degrees in California. We'll take a look at some of the extreme severe weather and more here soon. But first, the Aiken County Coroner's Office confirms the identity of human remains authorities found in Windsor last week. On Wednesday, the coroner told us they believe the remains might belong to 39-year-old John Belote of Graniteville, but we're waiting for that full confirmation to be sure. They're in, and they say it is Belote's remains. The coroner says Belote died from multiple gunshot wounds, and before this, Aiken County deputies arrested and charged 3 men in connection to the case: Thomas Gwynn, Donald Britton, and Cody Wooten. According to their arrest warrants, deputies believe they and one more person removed Belote's body from an unmarked shallow grave on Windsor Road to Wendy Lane. Authorities also included in those warrants the remains were torn into 2 pieces and treated in a disrespecting manner. We called John Belote's daughter, Sierra, on Wednesday to hear what the family knew, and as they feared, it could have been him. According to an incident report, she called Aiken County deputies, saying she last talked to him on June 28th after he told her about an argument with Britton. Sierra told us other family members and friends heard John possibly went to see his ex-girlfriend in Windsor, who was also Britton's daughter. No one heard from John after that. Now the sheriff's office says 2 of those initially charged 3 men have new charges. Cody Wooten was rearrested yesterday, and he has been charged with accessory after the fact to murder. And Donald Britton, who was already in the Aiken County Detention Center, is now also charged with accessory after the fact to murder. Thomas Gwynn is still granted a $15,000 bond as well. Now tossing things over to Emily Acton at the Weather Center. It is hot, it is humid. Emily, that is a pretty red map right behind you.
It is, Craig, but believe it or not, we're actually cooler than what we have been seeing really the past several weeks. We're in the 80s right now, upper 80s. So if you have any outdoor plans this evening, shouldn't be terrible. Again, we're pretty used to this for this time of year. Heat index in the lower 90s, indices, I should say, in the lower 90s. So actually not looking too bad for this hour of the day. Thankfully, things are calm, mostly dry for our area. Now, that's a different story down to the south, really the southern parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and then the northern parts of Florida, seeing some heavy rainfall, and kind of went past that one a little bit too fast. There we go. A couple of isolated showers starting to pop up across the CSRA, but overall, we are mostly dry. I know that there is a Green Jackets game going on. I think it's just about to start. Might see a stray shower, but overall, Craig, I think we're going to have a pretty decent evening for us.
Alrighty, sounds good. Well, volunteers and church leaders spent their Saturday morning making sure a street in Richmond County is prepared for home fires. Our Cindy Hood takes us to Crawford Avenue, where Augusta fire officials say it's an area that sees a lot of those fires.
It's a ranking we really don't want. Back earlier this year, Augusta ranked 9th out of 150 cities for the highest risk of home fires. To try and fight that, the Augusta Fire Department created a new public education specialist position to try and educate the public and lower the number of house fires. We hear about fire safety all the time, but what does that really look like? Well, it happens really before a fire starts with education, and that's what Augusta firefighters and the Red Cross were out doing today, door knocking to save lives.
Every room that you have someone that you love in, install a smoke detector. It's very simple. So you can't have too little. And coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 11 o'clock, we'll share more on how the beep of a smoke alarm can be the difference between life or death. In Augusta, Sydney Hood, on your side.
Alrighty, thanks for that, Sydney. North Augusta public safety officers have charged a person in a deadly hit and run overnight. Authorities say they found 50-year-old Angela Blackwell on Old Edgefield Road on the other side of East Martintown Road around 7:30 this morning. North Augusta officers say she was hit last night around 8:45 p.m. after they reviewed surveillance video in the area. Later on, officers found the vehicle parked behind a house with damages to the front and matched the description of the vehicle. They questioned a suspect who they say confessed to being the owner of the vehicle involved in that accident. And then 59-year-old Roger Bradham Sr. was then taken to the Aiken County Detention Center and is charged for leaving the scene of an accident that caused a death. Dangerously hot weather continues to affect much of the country, along with the threat of severe storms in certain areas. CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides reports from Miami.
There is no relief in sight from the brutal heat. This relentless and stifling heat wave has more than 110 million people under excessive heat warnings and advisories. In Georgia, outdoor workers are trying to keep cool.
What I tell them is just drink plenty of water, take shade if you have to.
In California, firefighters are struggling to handle the temperatures.
So we're wearing that same gear, to keep us safe. But yet now we're dealing with these temperatures, these outside temperatures.
In fact, it's so hot
Now is at 165.
that the pavement is sending some to the burn unit.
They're there for any longer than you flinching back. Your skin's going to start being damaged by that.
Phoenix topped 110 degrees for the 22nd straight day. In South Florida, activists for farm workers are pushing changes in the law after a 29-year-old died while working in the brutal heat.
We need water, we need shade, we need breaks.
The Northeast is dealing with the aftermath of heavy rainstorms. Flooding and thunderstorms halted play between the Red Sox and Mets at Fenway Park in Boston Friday night. And in Pennsylvania, the body of a 2-year-old swept away by flash flooding was recovered. Her 9-month-old sibling is still missing. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
And the heat is only expected to go up. By Wednesday, 237 million people in the U.S. are expected to have a forecast of temperatures above 90 degrees. Special counsel Jack Smith's team is working to get in touch with Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. It's for a piece of their investigation of former President Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 election. Trump had pressured Kemp to overturn the results here after he had narrowly lost the state to President Biden. Trump then backed a challenger in the Republican gubernatorial primary last year after Kemp refused. Smith's team has also recently contacted former Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, whom Trump had pressured to overturn the election after losing the state. The University of Georgia's officers say 2 men are in custody after a campus shooting. It happened this morning around 2:15 a.m. near Jackson and Fulton Street. Officers say the victim and the suspects were visiting, and they found the victim shot in the leg. Although they didn't reveal their name, officers say the victim is expected to be okay. Athens Clark officers took in the suspects during a traffic stop, later charging them with 5 counts of aggravated assault and more. Well, now that July is almost over, UPS workers are rallying to prepare for a possible strike. This is video out of Atlanta today of truckers from the Teamsters Union banding together. The company just announced yesterday they're going to start training managers to deliver packages should their 340,000 Teamsters workers go on strike after the 31st. The union's general president says they got a plan in place.
Did not get a deal. UPS has chose to strike themselves. And we will withhold our labor July 31st at 12:01 a.m. But if we get a tentative agreement subject to ratification and we're going to recommend it, then we will not withhold our labor.
Plus, our sister station from Atlanta reported a study coming out of what would happen if the workers went on strike. The study found a 10-day strike could cause $4 billion in losses for customers and small businesses. Again, the company and the union have until July 31st, when the current contract will expire, to reach a new deal. Well, coming up, it's time to sit down and stretch or get up and dance. We see how a ballet studio is helping older generations get a chance to dance in their own way. Emily?
Well, we could see an isolated shower or two throughout our weekend, but as we go to our work week, things are looking pretty good, and we might have a hurricane in the tropics. I'll have details on that coming up after the break.
Every day is a
Alrighty, y'all, take a look at this. Across the world, people from a small village in Turkey tried to find a creative way to stay cool. Right now, it's getting extremely hot over there, and a family farm converted their tractor trailer into a pool for them to cool off. They say there's no other place to swim or any water nearby, and they thought this would be the best way to cool off and have some fun. And speaking of cooling off, Emily, it sounds like it's not as hot this weekend, but it could be getting back up there throughout the week.
Yeah, Craig, we're actually right around average, which we've been above average for really the past 10 days or so. So things are a little bit better. Some places didn't get out of the 80s this afternoon. Lower 90s, though, for most of us. And that trend's going to continue tomorrow and then into our work week, where we can expect dry conditions. So Rainfall is going to be far and few between over really the next several days, but today is not one of them, and tomorrow could see an isolated shower or two. But here's a look right now at our radar. We're seeing those scattered showers and thunderstorms really for the southern half of the state of Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi, just the northern part of Florida. But us here in the CSRA, we are mostly dry. Now, there's a couple of those isolated showers starting to pop up in our northern counties, so could see a quick passing shower or two. Hopefully, though, things are good at the Green Jacket game tonight. And if you do see a shower, it should be passing relatively quickly. Right now, current temperatures are in the upper 80s. Things are actually looking really good for us for this hour, and the heat indices are right around 90, I would say, on average. Some places a little bit warmer than that, but typically this time of night, we're seeing upper 90s, some places possibly even the triple digits. So a much cooler day for us. Kind of crazy thinking that that's cooler, but it is. Overnight tonight, we're going to be mostly dry. Going to be partly cloudy, though, and then we could see an isolated shower or two early tomorrow morning. But the main chance of that rainfall is going to come throughout the later afternoon and evening hours, mainly for our southern counties. That's what the models have been showing. Again, more widespread heavy rainfall down to our south. Then as we go on through the overnight hours, that's when we can see a shower or two for our northern counties. So we'll get at least a chance to see a stray shower or two, but again, it's really looking like that heavier rainfall is going to be more for our southern counties. Again, going to see anywhere from maybe a tenth of an inch to maybe a quarter of an inch. So not anything too drastic, and we're really going to be mostly dry throughout the next several days. Again, tomorrow's going to be our next best chance of rainfall, and then after that, we're really dropping off significantly. There's kind of an understood 10% chance of rain throughout this time of year. You can kind of always have that as a safe bet because it is the summer. One thing I do want to point out, this is Hurricane Dawn. This is a Category 1. This is the first hurricane of the season, and that's kind of crazy being late July. This is the first hurricane that we've seen. Again, it's really still a fisherman's storm, not expected to really have any impacts to land, but nonetheless, it has strengthened. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. Over the next 7 days, things are not looking too bad. We're warming up a little bit for the midweek, and then by next weekend, we'll be back on average, a little bit warmer than average. Craig, you're going to be in those upper 90s, overnight lows in the 70s. I say we have a pretty solid 7-day.
Yeah, a lot of pink and red on the heat index. Emily, your dress was blending right into the screen there, but thanks for the heads up. Well, one program in Chicago is helping people with Parkinson's to heal through dance. The Joffrey Ballet is home to some of the greatest dancers in the world, but Lana Hinshaw-Clan sees how a new program wants to make sure everyone can dance.
This program is called Dancing with Parkinson's. Bringing dance to people who don't think that they can dance. We'll spend the first half of class seated in chairs. Minnie, Carly.
It's exciting, it's fun. I told all my friends I was going to do this, and they asked if I was going to wear a tutu.
Up and drop.
They don't make them that big.
And we stretch and close. Stretch and close.
Never having been disabled before in my life. And I would like to think of myself as being able to.
Halfway through class, all the participants will have the option to stand. Use all 4 plies. No matter if you've never danced before,
No, I haven't.
your first time coming back to dancing in a while,
I live in Sun City.
it feels like home when you come back to it.
They had a tap dance group called the Hunks.
Now sweep those arms up and high.
When was your diagnosis?
That was 12 years ago.
I think it's been 4 years.
It was cognitive things I was missing.
Sitting up nice and tall.
I had a hard time following directions and dates.
Roll to the right.
Doing something that helps us as far as memory, balance, muscle activity.
We're in a community of disabled.
You can softly open your eyes here.
I'm able to.
And let's do this for 5, 4.
Doing an activity right.
Let's stop. And stop.
Followed the instructions and got it done right. It makes me feel good, yes.
Movements feel wonderful.
This is actually one of my favorite classes to teach. Big shoulder roll. Because people are coming here just for their love of dance and to learn something new. Yeah, nice.
Experts say staying active can help patients with Parkinson's improve their physical and mental health while enjoying the benefit of the community. Well, still ahead, actor Jamie Foxx is ready to address his fans after a very scary health issue earlier this year. We'll hear from him after a quick break.
I'm Mike Costellos. Lexus Acura Infinity.
Thanks for watching News 12 on your side.
Actor Jamie Foxx made a statement on Instagram today after a mysterious illness left him hospitalized this year. Foxx's family says he was taken to the hospital in April for a medical complication. During his video, Foxx didn't say any details about what led up to him going there. Instead, he thanked his fans for all the prayers and messages they sent because it was something he never thought he'd go through.
I want you to see me laughing, having a good time, partying, cracking a joke, doing a movie, television show. I didn't want you to see me with tubes running out of me and trying to figure out if I was gonna make it through. And to be honest with you, my sister Deidre Dixon, my daughter Corinne Marie saved my life. So to them, to God, to a lot of great medical people.
He says he's coming back and can work now as well. Exciting stuff for Jamie. Now, there were several school supply drives between Georgia and South Carolina today to make sure students are ready for class. One organization stopped by Aiken Technical College to do a big book bag giveaway. Leaders with success teams say this is one of their largest programs. They held the 8th annual back-to-school book bag drive this morning. They say they had about 1,700. Now, there were several school supply drives between Georgia and South Carolina today to make sure students are ready for class. One organization stopped by Aiken Technical College to do a big book bag giveaway. Leaders with success teams say this is one of their largest programs. They held the 8th annual back-to-school book bag drive this morning. They say they had about 1,700 supplies to give away and brought in other organizations and nonprofits to help kids succeed. It's also just as important for the community because the public school district is starting all year-round school on Tuesday.
The reason why we pinpoint backpacks because 9 times out of 10, that's the most expensive thing on your list. Right now in Aiken County, we all know that school goes back early, right? To date, students are starting back school on Tuesday. We got to make sure that our families and our students are well prepared to go and venture off and secure those educational dreams that they have.
Tim says it takes a community effort to make sure today's students have everything they need. He added they had about 15 organizations there this morning. Also out in Aiken County, the CEO of a local marketing group says the Chandler Law Firm helped fund the 13th annual Fit for School drive. This year's drive-through happened outside the Family Y in Graniteville in case more families needed more help with getting school supplies or anything more. Leaders with the Allison South Marketing Group say they try to provide more resources as well.
Over the years, we've been doing over 1,000+ kids in Aiken County. In 2 weeks, we'll be doing Augusta, and we do free haircuts, health screenings by Hearing Associates of South Carolina. So it's a lot of great things, more than just school supplies, but also bringing the healthcare aspect to it.
He says Richmond County families or those who missed this giveaway can expect another Fit for School drive on August 5th inside the James Brown Arena. No word yet on what time. Well, happening tomorrow, the Green Jackets team is warming up with 2 other partners to host this stuff, the best back-to-school drive. Organizers say the goal is to help with the cost of back-to-school shopping for families in the community. They say all donations will go towards United Way of the CSRA. The drive starts at 12:30 p.m. at SRP Park. Coming up in sports, an Evans grad returns home to the CSRA to host his 3rd annual football camp.
Attention homeowners,
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
Dare Canteen's football camp was back for its 3rd year in a new location, and the players left everything on the field. Canteen played at Evans before setting off to Georgia Southern. He created a camp 3 years ago to connect with local athletes. This year, the camp traded in the backyard of Evans High School for ARC's practice field. It's not the only change the corner has seen this summer. He entered the transfer portal this offseason and is now dressing up in the maroon and orange of Virginia Tech. No matter which field he steps on, what color he wears, at the end of the day, he's living his dream and inspiring the next generation to do the same.
When I was coming up, at a certain point, I didn't think it was possible to play Division I football or in the NFL. So that's why days like today, things like that is so important to me. I want to inspire them and just let them know that I played in these recreations in these middle schools, high school here. I used to train here at this field. So if I can do it, they can do it.
Canteen moved the camp this year to try to get kids from other counties to attend and learn from the camp. He wants to continue moving the camp throughout the CSRA. Coming up all new on News 12 at 11, I'll take you inside the Corners Kids Camp over at ARC.
Thanks for that, Alyssa. Well, a giant panda living at Washington, D.C.'s National Zoo celebrated her 25th birthday on today with a cake and various treats. Mei Zhan was born at the China Conservation and Research Center for the giant panda in China in 1998. She was later moved to the U.S. where she gave birth to 7 cubs. 4 have survived into adulthood. She munched on her cake and knocked it around to the delight of well-wishers who gathered outside her enclosure. The birthday treats were icy concoctions of water, juice, and fresh produce, including sweet potatoes and grapes. Coming from D.C., that's the biggest attraction at the National Zoo. Just everyone loves the pandas over there.
That is so cool. I love how they make like these really cool birthday cakes for these animals, and they're so unique and like what all they have to put in there. And yeah, I don't know. I love watching that stuff, especially pandas. Who doesn't like watching pandas?
Adorable.
Yeah,
every time.
So cute. But looking at our radar might not be as adorable. There's a couple of pop-up showers, and Craig's over there laughing at me. There's a couple of pop-up showers, Craig, north of Augusta, really in between Aiken and Edgefield. Seeing some of the showers start to pop up. Hopefully things are looking okay down at the Green Jacket Stadium. They shouldn't be too bad there. Again, a quick passing shower is possible, but I'm really thinking that we're going to be mostly dry. And again, granted, if you're going to the game, you're probably already out there. I want to look at the next 7 days, though, Craig. We're going to be in the 90s, warming up for the middle of our work week. Things are looking mostly dry.
Well, the radar wasn't looking as cute, but y'all should come back to News 12 at 11 with more news, weather, and sports coming up.